You must upload your portfolio of evidence onto the ASDA system. We are not able to accept any portfolios that are emailed to us. So the question is, how do you go about doing that? About the mechanics of how you do that. We will email you a link to our online system that you must use in uploading your portfolio. Please save this link. You will then use this link every time you want to upload something into your portfolio, or if you want to review feedback from your evaluator. As I've mentioned earlier, don't email your evaluator. They are not allowed to include anything not actually on our system in their evaluation. Please also take careful heed of which folder you are uploading into and use the correct one. More of this in a moment. You will typically see at least the 3 following folders available to you when you click on the link. Firstly is a folder called 1.workbook. Secondly, 2.supporting evidence. Thirdly, 3.snapshots. The purpose of each of these is as follows. The 1.workbook folder is for uploading your workbook in Word. You'll also see that we require you to sign and upload a declaration of authenticity. It goes into this folder. If you submit remedial work, it also goes into this folder. The second folder is called supporting evidence, and this is where you will upload all of the evidence that you're using to support the examples that you've given us. Please make sure that you upload each piece of evidence separately and that you provide it with a unique number and a unique title. This is to make the life of the evaluator easier. We have, for example, received a PDF document of 160 pages containing all of the evidence for a particular portfolio. The evaluator cannot find a particular piece of evidence and match it to an example if it is presented in that fashion. So if you do upload multiple pieces of evidence in one document, it will be rejected by the evaluator and you'll need to resubmit. Please also do not create subfolders. This makes the life of the evaluator more difficult in finding information. The third folder is called snapshots, and this is a folder that you won't be uploading into. However, it is the place where we store a record of each submission or comment that's made. So once you submit your workbook in Word and you tell us that it's ready for evaluation, the first thing that your evaluator will do is to save a copy of that original workbook into the snapshots folder in PDF, and they will give it the following name. It'll be numbered number 1, it'll have your name, and it'll be called initial submission. So we've got a snapshot of what you originally submitted to the evaluator. Then the evaluator will complete their evaluation in your workbook in Word, and when they have finished that, they will save that as a PDF and they'll put it into the snapshots folder, and it'll have the title 2.yourname, and it'll be called initial evaluation. So you can see, or everybody can see in fact, exactly what was submitted and exactly what the evaluation was. If you need to do a remedial submission, that will be in the same workbook in Word. You'll add more information into it and you'll upload it again. When your evaluator sees it, they will then save that again as a snapshot, and they'll give it a unique name, now 3.yourname, remedial submission. And they will then continue and do their evaluation on the additional information that you've included in your workbook. When they're finished, they will save that again as a PDF and give it a unique name, 4.yourname, and remedial evaluation. So you'll be able to see all the way through what has been done on your workbook. There are 2 more folders that sometimes appear in a candidate's folder, and they are for RPL. You'll find there is a separate video. If you don't have a qualification, need to complete an RPL exercise, it is saved there. And if you are applying for a master designation, there is a requirement for a panel interview that would go into that folder. But that is only relevant if you are looking at the master designation or if you are needing to do an RPL because you don't meet the qualification requirements. Some reminders about evidence requirements. All evidence must be submitted electronically, typically as a PDF. Make sure that each piece of evidence is in a separate document when you upload it, and give it a unique number and a name. And it all goes into the same folder, that supporting evidence folder. When you come to completing your workbook, then you would need to list the specific evidence relevant to that example in your workbook. And that is why you need to have a unique name and number for each piece of evidence. This is just a reminder that when you are uploading evidence, it all goes into the same folder with its own number and name, and you don't create any subfolders. Here are some of the problems that we see with evidence as uploaded by candidates. Sometimes the candidates don't give a unique number and name for each piece of evidence. For example, we sometimes see a piece of evidence numbered, for example, 25, but there are actually two pieces of evidence numbered 25. That's confusing. Please don't do that. It sometimes is not uploaded into the correct folder. Sometimes candidates don't list under each example the specific evidence relevant just to that example. They might leave out the number, and that is difficult for the evaluator to confirm. Sometimes irrelevant evidence is uploaded by candidates. And we've spoken about evidence requirements beforehand, but it's things that are general in nature. And lastly, when candidates submit a remedial workbook, it must go into that first folder and not be uploaded elsewhere. As you will be using your workbook, and the evaluator will also be working on your workbook, we use a color coding convention to indicate who is doing what and at what stage the process is. So your initial submission in your workbook, you will use black ink. When the evaluator does the first evaluation, they will be using red ink. If you need to do a remedial submission, please change your font color to blue. Then the evaluator will complete their remedial evaluation using purple, and then it will go to the verifier, and the verifier's work is completed in green ink.